going on? Yeah, today I thought I'd put out a video about dragons. A couple days ago, someone requested dragons. Um, Actually, I might do two videos in this. I'll do dragons and Monster Lab because neither of them are super long videos. Um, and they're really, really fucking simple to grasp. Okay. One second. I'll just change the treasures. Um, at your level, and depending on what dragon you're on, you may need these treasures. You may need Unicorn Shield, you may need Bottomless Red Potion, and defensive items like that. Don't need Siege, you might need to stack it with this. Try and keep Power Glove if you can. Apart from that, there's no other defensive items really that you should run. Um, and there's also no more, there's really no more offensive items that you can run usefully. The first the first rule of doing dragons is don't use summons. They're a waste. I'll give you an example quickly and just equip these. I'll equip witches and we'll run a dragon and just pay attention to how quickly they die. Um, we'll run legendary dragon. Any attack is basically just going to one-shot them like that, you know? So it's no point. And every single summon is going to be the same. It's just going to die quickly. Um, I will keep orcs on because I don't use them, so it'll never pop. As for towers, I've seen reports that the turret works for the period that the dragon is in the air. Um, for me, that's not necessary, so it doesn't matter, but it might help you a little bit if your turret tower is quite high, or if you need some extra damage. As for the town buildings, Springwater is always good. Archer Guild, Hero Guild, it's a standard trio. If you need to swap something out, probably I'd say depending on your archer level, your town archer level, swap out Archer Guild for tower if you've got really high castle components, or Forge if you need more defensive stuff. Basically run damage towers. I'm gonna keep this here because I don't want to change everything. Um, I'm also going to swap Windy for Bishop. Now, effectively, these three, the top three, the second top three, and these two, the Smith and the Assassin, sorry, I forgot I turned cursor off, are the only heroes you're going to use. Um, there is a bug with these dragons where as they're about to breathe fire, if you do that, it will cut the damage, but um, it's not super worth it, realistically. So basically all you want to do, the thing that does damage for you, because you don't have level 80,000 town archers, the thing that's going to do damage for you is going to be your Dark Ranger. For me, it should be about on par with my town archers. At that. Yeah, see, my town archers do twice as much. That wasn't a real run though, because I was busy focusing on talking. But basically, what you do, you pop your hunter, you pop your Dark Ranger, you pop your bishop, you pop your necro, you pop your assassin. You use white mage, and you just sort of rotate as they come off. You use Smith when you need to, which I probably don't at all, but use Smith just to keep it up. And that's basically all I do. Summons aren't at all helpful. They might appear to be doing damage, but it's just ground troops, and they don't do anything. Ground troops don't matter. You'll clear those with ease anyway. And you're just wasting mana pretty much. They're the only heroes you should use. Um, I mean, I suppose, okay, if you're really struggling, Eagle Druid or Wolf Druid. No, Eagle Druid, because the summons from the Druid cannot take damage. Um, and there's really nothing else. Let's try with Windy. I haven't done a dragon with Windy before, but it may be useful. See, it does some damage, but the fact that you have to place it just means it's not dragon farming viable, because that takes, 1.5 seconds or something, 1 second. Um, but she does do an okay amount of damage. I mean, look at that. It's pretty clear just from looking at that battle result what does the damage to dragons and what doesn't. You know, it's your town archers and it's your ranger. As for items, I do not have boss damage items, I don't believe. But if you can get yourself damage percent boss damage, either one or two items with that for your ranger, you you are golden. They're perfect because you'll just do insane amounts of damage to the boss. And that works for every dragon level. I mean, I can show you this, but yeah, I don't even have time to cast an attack. So there's no point me running green. There's no point me running anything other than legendary because, I mean, even Sin just sort of melts. But yeah, as long as you stick to your archer, your hunter, your necro, your assassin, and your bishop. Um, if you're really struggling, try and alternate between your hunter and bishop because they both effectively do the same thing. That increases archer damage, that increases attack speed. I mean, you can pop them at the same time, but I prefer to sort of layer them a little bit staggered, so you constantly got increased damage for your archers. And that is dragons. It's super simple, you know. Change your treasures out to defense items as you see fit, or as you are required to. Apart from that, run full glass cannon and just level your ranger. Your ranger should be the highest level thing you've got, not only for dragons, but also for boss waves and skip waves. Um, but it does help to have it for dragons because with a decently leveled ranger, say 4,000, 5,000, you might actually be able to do a dragon above what you would expect. Um, Now, as for Monster Lab, the second part of this video, or episode 8 or not, I don't remember what we're up to, there's a few different things you can run. For the bosses, I run critical damage because I run Deep Assassin at the moment, or when I'm waving and pushing on waves, I run Deep Assassin. For Infinite, Dark Assassin for me, but I sort of don't care about Infinite at this point. Well, this week. So critical damage it is. It helps a little bit, and there's nothing better. As I said before, your Dark Ranger does the most damage. It's your boss surging tool. You want the critical hits to do more damage. As for the Zeppelin, fire. You can run lightning, I think. Yeah, you can run lightning. But I use Windy. And Windy's fire. I use the turret tower, which is fire, and it seems to melt. You can use flame bow, I suppose, if you need to, but it's not as good as cursed heart. It's just cheaper to upgrade. So if you're early on in the game and you can't afford to max your cursed knife, sorry, you can't afford to max it, then run flame bow until you can. For the cannon, I don't understand this. I think it's bugged because it has 30% cold resistance, but you can reduce the cold resistance. And just as an example. See, this has Tauren has 30% fire resistance, and you cannot select fire. So I think he's just copied this the debuffs across from something else and forgotten to change them. Because you shouldn't, I mean, it should be fire. It's wooden, it's a thing. It should have a fire weakness, which it does. It should be able to be buffed. So for that, I mean, I run lightning damage. You could probably run crit damage as well. But I just use lightning because my lightning active sort of melts everything. For Tauren, I use crit chance. Basically because I'm too lazy to change it. Crit damage would work. Cold damage would work a little bit. I suppose if you're using your Frost Mage to slow it and freeze it, but it's not recommended. It's crit chance or crit damage for this guy. Fire for the battering ram for obvious reasons. Lightning for all flyers. Doesn't matter what future flyer comes out. Unless it's this Zeppelin, obviously, which has a fire weakness. Just lightning. Minus 20% lightning, so just do that. Your TNT guy, you're going to do critical damage on. And basically everything else is fire. You know, fire, fire. Lightning on things that have fire resistance, though, or crit damage if that's the way you want to go. It doesn't make a super huge difference. The only time it'd make a difference is if you're running solar, if you're running fire witches, and you've sort of got a beast mode fire build, then I'd say prioritize fire over anything else. Fire and critical damage over any other element, but you really shouldn't run a single element build. You should have a couple. So fire lightning works quite well. Cobalt fire, catapult fire, obviously, zombie fire, and slime fire. And that's your monster lab. I mean, honestly, it doesn't make a huge difference, but it was noticeable to me when I had them all as crit damage, and when I swapped them to fire and lightning elements very recently, I was able to skip a few more waves than I was before. And now as a bonus, I suppose, to wrap this video up, let's craft an item. I think, yeah, one item. Yay. You ready for me to get some garbage? Garbage. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching me roll shitty items, and hopefully you fix your monster lab, and hopefully you can actually kill the dragons that you've been trying to kill now. Oh, actually, before we go, leader. Use whatever leader's strongest. If you're using, yeah, use zero. Zero works for me. Easy peasy. Alright, peace.